Furby's 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Guyana, join me on the Lall Show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:20 p.m. and a rebroadcast at 11 a.m. The Lall Show only on Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 and 99.5 FM.
The third world is not poor. You don't go to poor countries to make money. There are very few poor countries in this world. Only the people are poor. When people didn't have enough to eat, when people were driven to the edge of desperation, there's billions to be made there, to be carved out and to be taken. The capitalist European and North American powers have carved out and taken the timber, the bauxite. They have taken out of these countries. These countries are not underdeveloped. They're overexploited. They're overexploited. They're overexploited.
It is 19 hours 20 in Guyana and right across the Eastern Caribbean. Namaste to you. Happy Friday. Welcome to the Friday, August 19th edition of the Lall Show, where we tell it as it is. Just a point of note that telephone numbers you can tap us on tonight, 226-74534, 622-222, or 624-6456. Those of you joining us on social media stream, you'll be able to see the numbers scrolling on top of the screen. With that said, sir, namaste. It's Friday and the floor is yours. TGIN.
You're listening to 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. That's what we were listening to, Kaieteur Radio, right? Mm-hmm. Namaste.
Namaste.
And namaste to all you wonderful people. It's Friday. I missed you guys on Wednesday, but I had a little emergency, Josh. Mm-hmm. You guys got to forgive me. My doctor is warning me not to continue the program, but I'm going against his advice because I feel good, and when you tell him, Josh, that I feel good, mm-hmm. he doesn't want to believe so. So I'll continue to do it. Don't worry. Today, Joshua. Vice President Jagdeo had a press conference. It lasted for over 3 hours. And when you sit there, and you listen to what the Vice President had to say, he came with his own agenda, local government election, and a number of other issues he raised. When you listen to what he say, and the answers he gave to some of the questions posed to him, the way how he go around and come around and go around in a circle, and talk about things you didn't ask him or is irrelevant to the question asked or posed to him, it can really frustrate you. I used to hear my reporters complaining, boss, how they get frustrated when they go to the vice president press conferences. But today, I experienced it for myself. The first question I asked him about renegotiation of the contract, and he began telling me about Guyana doesn't have money to do any oil project. That was never part of my question, and he went on to stray completely away from the question of renegotiation. At the end of it, Joshua, after he rant and rave, he go around like a yo-yo. He said they are not looking at about renegotiation of the contract. It's really frustration It's really frustrating, And when a leader can dance this dance with a country with a $1 trillion, US $1 trillion oil sector, it speaks volumes as to where this country is heading. Joshua, anybody can listen to the press conference. It's online, it's on the Facebook pages, it's there. And draw your own conclusion. You don't have to take my word for it. You just listen to it, get your relatives or friends or somebody to pull it up and listen to it. And you would confirm what I'm saying. Driving back to the office, me and my reporters, I could have only shake my head and say, God have to help this land with how these politicians addressing this $1 trillion oil sector we have. It's very sad, Joshua. It gets even sadder, if that's a correct word, when you listen to how the elected, our young president, responds to questions. And this is where I want to begin my tonight's program. For you to listen how a president would respond to a simple question posed to him. Could you play him for me? I get a clip for him.
I said in my address, let us be factual. Let us understand the reality and not gaffe. This is a president that is not interested in gaffing. This is a president that is interested in doing. So if they want to gaffe, you can call critic and them boys and gaffe.
Wow. I want you all to notice very carefully how the president said he isn't into gaffing. He is into facts and doing. And the reality, he's into facts and reality. And if you want to gaff, go to critic and them boys. Yes. That was a part of President Ali's response to a citizen in Bartica recently, Uncle, when she asked him to tell us something about our oil blocks. He became upset and lashed out at the lady. If you want to gaff, go to critic. Sit with him and gaff. Well, it seems that a lot of people who wants to gaff in this country, heeding President Ali's advice and joining critic for gaff. Even the foreigners running over to critic forget a nice gaff. Joshua, Monday night they played part of critic gaff. One such person, Auntie, is the head of Exxon Guyana, a man named Alastair Routledge. He sat with critic last week and had a good gaff about what Exxon is doing for Guyana and what Guyana getting from the oil deal we have with ExxonMobil. This is what our government, Uncle and Auntie, and the opposition encouraging in this land with our future. Yes, this US $1 trillion oil asset we have. Encouraging the Guyana head of an oil superpower to sit with a comedian who only know to gaff, rather than sit with the independent mainstream media who can properly engage and drill him on the oil deal and the oil business Guyana got. He engaging critic, a man who is nothing but a clown and knows nothing about the oil industry to sit with. This is what Guyana's trillion US dollar oil business has come to, with me and you future inside. I want to play another short tape, a minute tape, for you to decide. You may want to think that calling this man a clown, I am going overboard. But I want you to listen to this clip in how he behaved and in his own voice. Could you play it for them?
Good morning, critics. How are you?
Ma, word, how is me? What's your problem?
I don't got a problem. I just want to say good morning to you and how are you doing?
Ma, you're watching me live this morning. It's a busy morning. People up the East Coast got problems. People got stress. One man there, 3 cow, cause he dead. And it was he move on to now. How you think I is?
Well, you got to take it easy. You want to get high blood pressure, don't you?
No, me can't get high blood pressure, so me stay. Let's get pressure, people like you, Carl, like Alice in Wonderland, like nothing going on. How is me?
But, critic,
But me blood clot, man. Do you know this morning how much people are in distress trying to come down the East Coast? How are you? How the blood clot you think I is?
Oh boy. Oh boy. Wow. Auntie and uncle, my fellow brothers and sisters of this country, imagine this is the man, the CEO of Exxon Guyana, sitting down to talk with about me and you oil future. This US trillion dollar oil future. This is the respect that Exxon has for me and you. When he sit down with a clown like that, and erratic, man, Joshua, I don't know a word to describe that. But I'll say this, Joshua. If, uncle, if you people cannot smell what is ahead in that bag for Guyana from Exxon Mobil, then something is wrong with your nose. We can all smell when we own Guyanese tricking us, Joshua, and making a fool out of us. But when we refuse to do the same, when it comes to the massa of ExxonMobil, then I don't know what else to say to Guyana. If this isn't I pass to a nation, then Glenn don't know what is. Monday night, I played a 1 minute of a single clip for you people to hear. Alastair Routledge telling the clown, that same clown, Guyana got the best deal ever. That is putting unprecedented revenues into Guyana's bank account and more to come. That's what he said. This is how, uncle, we put sweet soap and perfume on the corpse, on the dead of an oil deal Guyana get from ExxonMobil. A deal that stinks so bad that even his own white people telling Guyanese that we get a raw deal. He's saying Guyana get the greatest deal ever with nothing to back that up but fancy and flowery words from his mouth. Tonight, uncle and auntie, I promise to continue that Monday night program Wednesday, and here I am. I want to play another piece of the same gaffe between Routledge and that gaffe man or that clown critic. Could you play the next piece? Let him hear him.
You know, and the other thing that we hear all the time is this 2%. Everyone talks about the 2%, but it is just a small part of the revenue that the state receives. The country receives half of the profit that is made from the production activities. So just imagine, no investment up front, no risk for the country. Take half of the profit, and then the 2% is 2% of the gross revenues paid by the contractors, which is ExxonMobil, Hess, and CNOOC, out of their profit share to the government. So today, where the profit is 25% of the total revenues, 12.5% goes to the state, and then 2% comes out of the contractor's 12.5% and goes to the state. So the state ends up with 14.5% out of the 25% profit.
Wow. Wow, Joshua. Half and half profit. Joshua, when you listen to that man and the way he presented himself to Guyana, you believe that we are in such a wonderful position. When in fact, uncle, when in fact, that is half the truth he's telling Guyana. This man reminded me of Ashley Singh when he said insurance is a vital toolkit that every household, every business, every man, every woman and child must have. But when it comes to Guyana having full protection, full liability coverage on an oil spill from ExxonMobil, this financial guru Ashley Singh gone numb and dumb. He never come out for talk about that. That is how this man, Routledge, came over just now when he spoke about Guyana getting half and half profit from the oil revenue. This is how we knew Massa, Alastair Routledge, presented himself with Guyana's half and half profit. Flowery and rosy. He said everybody talking about this 2%, but nobody talking about the half and half profit we get in. The way how he said it, uncle, anybody who doesn't know the facts or the true details underneath his explanation would jump for joy and want to kiss his feet. Well, this is where, Auntie, I want to explain and show all of you how that man is only telling us half of the story about this half and half profit Guyana is getting. He half and half is a half-baked cook-up story coming out of a quarter of the apple. The three-quarter of the apple, what them eating, he didn't even mention a word about that. That's how conniving they are. You hear how skillfully he used the English language with critic to make us believe it's the sweetest thing Guyana get. Auntie, everything that man said there just now about half and half is nothing but half and half of the whole truth between Guyana and the oil companies them. And this is where I want to break down what he said there and explain to you how tricky and clever that white spin doctor, yes, this new massa is. The gaff he put on critic, you would believe that we are getting the milk with the cream. Yes. When that is far from the truth, Auntie, we are not getting even the water from the milk. He said, everybody talking about the 2% only, but nobody talking about how Guyana invested no money. Guyana got no risk but still getting half and half of the profit. Now, uncle, let me tell that clown critic was sit down there quietly and swallowing that hook down his throat. If Guyana did not invest a single cent in the oil sector, then why is Guyana paying back all the billions spent on the FPSO, the rigs, the drill ships, and so on? Why? Whose oil is paying back for that investment, uncle? Exxon? Or the new massa? No, sir. Guyana. Me and the people of this country, oil money, is paying back for every cent spent out there, Routledge. So to tell this nation that Guyana invests no money and have no risk is not even half of the truth you tell in this country. You're being disrespectful and dishonest in dismissing our ability to understand the game you want to play with us when you sit down to gaff with critic. We understand what is playing out, Routledge. Auntie and uncle, Exxon Mobil take our oil fields with the oil inside and pledge it to the foreign banks, collected billions without our authorization, and then this man telling us that we didn't invest any money there. Come on, massa. You for real? Exxon used the money that they borrow, uncle, that they borrow on our head, in which every cent is being taken back before half and half profit is shared. And still this man, Routledge, saying we didn't invest any money. How you like that, Joshua? It's like me pledge my house to the bank for a loan for your son, Joshua, to do business. And then your son turn back and saying or tell me I don't have any investment or any risk in that business. Me house pledge for you, son, get the loan, you know. For you do the business, and then you telling me that me got no risk. I mean, I got no investment in the business. Wow. Wow. That is exactly, Joshua, what this white massa want Guyanese people to believe. We have no investment out there when it's we oil block pledge to collect all the money. You see how conniving and deceptive Routledge is? Saying we have no investment and no risk, but still getting half and half profit, according to him. Them really gotta love me and you, eh? Forgive we half and half profit with no investment. Let me say this, uncle. The only way Exxon Mobil could have gone to the bank or all the financial institutions and get the billions to invest out there is on the back of our oil. He didn't give that part or that piece with critic. He's skillfully dancing and painting a picture with critic as if we didn't put anything into the business. So let me ask this again, uncle. Is who really invest out there, man? Exxon Mobil or we oil field? Joshua?
Yes, sir.
Let's turn to that other word he gaffing about, risk. He said we have no investment and we have no risk. No investment up front, no risk for the country. Auntie and uncle, that is far, far from the truth. This investment, this oil business is the most frightening and dangerous risk countries upon countries have ever faced. Many countries haven't recovered from having to actually face those risks. They are real, uncle. They are deadly, and they are disastrous for nations and their citizens. The risk we face, I'm talking about. One of the biggest risks this country and the region is exposed to is from the oil investment, which is why every single individual, local and international, has been calling for full liability coverage from the three parent companies working out there, Hess, CNOOC, and ExxonMobil. Up to this moment, we are still living with that great dangerous risk. And this master telling Guyana on Critic program, the country has no risk. You guys see who he can sit down. Who he can sit down with to have this kind of gaff? The entire fishing industry has dwindled to little or nothing because of the oil operations, and yet Guyana has no risk, according to this master. The excessive flaring causing massive damage and disruption to the atmosphere and our lives. And we still have no risk. Let me ask you guys, man. You guys not feeling the heat? Both day and night these days? How are you sleeping? As to how you used to sleep before, Joshua? Is that same oil operations going on out there that comes with no risk to you or your lives have us in this situation today? And several other dangerous risks. If I am to talk about them, we will not go home tonight. Yet this white man, Routledge, saying we have no risk in this oil sector. Today again at the press conference, the vice president addressed it with another little swing to it. He said they're still working on to get ExxonMobil, parent company, them to take on full responsibility with full liability coverage. I was happy when he said that. He wasn't very clear, but I got that out of him this afternoon at the press conference. Wow. My reporter, having seen that he liked for gaff, Joshua, sent an invitation for him to come on the Kaieteur radio to continue the same type of gaffing. I will give you an update, Uncle and Auntie, as to if he will ever come to gaff with us here at the Kaieteur News. Let me tell Critic this. It's not only Guyana at great risk, sir, but the entire region. And I don't know how the regional bodies have not kicked up a stink as yet to fight this situation we find ourselves in with this great risk. I don't know. I just don't know. But, Uncle and Auntie, I want us to turn to the main gaff, this 2% thing. Could you play back Routledge to me? 2%.
So today, where the profit is 25% of the total revenues, 12.5% goes to the state, and then 2% comes out of the contractor's 12.5% and goes to the state. So the state ends up with 14.5% out of the 25% profit.
Wow. He said so today, where the profit is 25% of the total revenues, 12.5% goes to the state, and then 2% comes out from the oil companies, 12.5% profit share, and goes to Guyana. So Guyana end up with 14.5% out of the 25% profit. Hear me? Out of the 25% profit. Joshua? There is two things he said there that needs to be emphasized and exposed. The 2% and that 25%. When he said the 2% comes out of the oil company's 12.5% share and is added to Guyana's 12.5%, and Guyana ends up with 14.5% out of the 25% profit, uncle. Man, Joshua, that is a spin. That's a spin the man put in on this whole thing. This is how the man is playing with our minds. You see what he's trying to install in our head there, Joshua? That out of the 25% profit, Guyana is not getting 12.5%. We're getting 14.5% and them getting 10.5%. That is a rotten apple. Wash up clean, aisle, and beautifully wrap with a big red bow that he's presenting to all of us here in Guyana. That, uncle, is far from the truth. It is not even half of the truth. But that white man wants us to believe that Guyana is getting 14.5% and them only getting 10.5% out of the 25% profit share. Me and you must say, yay. He's actually telling us for we to say, yay. We must jump up a jay, uncle. We get an edge over Exxon Mobil. We put in no money, we have no risk, and them giving we 14.5% and them taking 10.5%. Them love we. Them love our brown, black, and purple people. Make them gonna give our these more profit than what them taking for themselves. When in fact, we both getting equal amount of 12.5 out of the 25% profit sharing. Both of us getting 12.5 and 12.5. I am coming to that 25% just now. Now I'm dealing with the 2%. So just stay tuned with me. Let me expose this devious, evil, and wicked man to tell this nation Guyana ends up with 14.5% out of the 25% profit share. Uncle, it is completely false. The 2% that he wants us to believe they are giving us out of their share, uncle, should not be coming out of anybody's share. That 2% he's talking about has nothing to do with profit sharing, uncle. That money is separate and distinct from profits. That money comes out at the top before any discussion or calculation is done on profit sharing, auntie. You hear that clear, uncle? That 2% royalty should not even be mentioned in any profit sharing conversations or gaff. If they pump up 100 barrels, right away 2 barrels belong to Guyana and the 98 barrels is being shared. Half and half after profit come out. That is how simple it is. So to tell us, Massa, Mr. Routledge, that you guys are taking out that 2% from the oil company's profits and put it over to we profit is only a trick. Yes, it's only a trick. You're trying to make us a fool. You're trying to make us a big S out of all the Guyanese people. That's what you're trying to do. It's a big sham. Joshua?
Yes, sir.
What he purposely left out in the 2% gap with that clung was that it is fully recoverable by the oil companies. That was one of the questions I was supposed to ask the Vice President today. And the press conference closed and I didn't get that question in. He didn't gaff on that part. Down to that 2%, they're taking it back, uncle and auntie. He didn't say a word about that. So they're basically not giving us anything. That 2%. He went to critic with a songbook, uncle, and only singing bhajans and ghazals. The ghazals he's singing only suit he and he company. That's what he did. Could you play back the tape for me, man? Let these people hear this tape?
Yes. You know, and the other thing that we hear all the time is this 2%. Everyone talks about the 2%, but it is just a small part of the revenue that the state receives. The country receives half of the profit that is made from the production activities. So just imagine, no investment up front, no risk for the country. Take half of the profit, and then the 2% is 2% of the gross revenues paid by the contractors, which is ExxonMobil, Hess, and CNOOC, out of their profit share to the government. So today, where the profit is 25% of the total revenues, 12.5% goes to the state, and then 2% comes out of the contractors' 12.5% and goes to the state. So the state ends up with 14.5% out of the 25% profit.
Auntie and uncle, within that single minute, this massa used the word profit, not one time, not 2 times, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times, but 6 times. 6 times. You hear that, Joshua? 6 times the man used the word profit in a single minute. This is how they play with your mind, trying to make us what we are not with this profit sharing deal. Listen to half minute of that minute. Play the half minute again, brother.
So today, where the profit is 25% of the total revenues, 12.5% goes to the state, and then 2% comes out of the contractors' 12.5% and goes to the state. So the state ends up with 14.5% out of the 25% profit.
Ow. Now let's go to the apple. The marrow bone. Yes. This profit share this man talking about, coming from 25% of the gross revenue, in which we split half and half. Yes, 12.5% and 12.5%. Uncle, how did Routledge arrive at that 25% figure is a mystery and a magic which he didn't touch or say a word about. What that means. Our life, our dreams from our profits are based on a magic where the oil business is concerned. You may not have recognized how skillfully and boastfully he spoke of that 25% profit share 6 times in that 1 minute. But never for 1 second said anything about the missing 75%. Yes. About the missing 75% that is missing from the 25%. You hear, Josh? It's only 25%. Kevin, 25% he spoke about. Nothing about that 75% that is missing. He talked about the 25% of the apple. What happened to the 75% of the apple? Kevin, everybody know you don't get 25% profit. Profit is always come from 100%. So how this man talking about Guyana and the oil company sharing half and half profit from 25% of the apple, Kevin? How come? Not a single word he mentioned during his gaffe with critic about the missing 75% of the apple. They will never entertain a discussion on that part of the apple, uncle. You know why, critic? Because that is where the oil companies is stripping Guyana naked in front of our eyes, flipping you how they want, and when they're done with you, you will be exactly where Africa is today. Did you hear what I said there just now, Kevin? When they're done with you, we will be right where Africa is. That 75% of the apple that they're eating off, I'm not saying a word, uncle, is where they are fattening their cows, yes, themselves, and leaving our cow to eat or to feed on 12.5% of the 25% slice of the apple. That's where we are eating from. That's where our cow got to graze from. 12.5 of the 25% apple. The man was glowing with the glitter of his story. No risk, no investment, but you get in 12. You get in half and half of the profit. You could ask for a better deal than that, auntie? What he's doing here is like waving a huge candy in front of a school with kids who never tasted a candy before, enticing the children when in fact the candy is being used as a bait to make them feel nice. Yes, to lure them with a rotten candy and then take advantage on them. That is what ExxonMobil is doing to all of us in Guyana when Routledge said that no risk, no investment, and that half and half profit. That's what he's doing. The glamour and glitter in the Guyana-Exxon relationship, but the real glitter that they are silently draining away, thieving out, siphoning off, is nowhere in the picture, uncle. He didn't mention a word about that with critic during the gaffe. He talked about the glimmer and the hopes from the 25% of the apple. But the other 75% that they are eating conveniently disappear from his mouth. Nobody asking questions or even having a gaffe about this 75% that is missing from the 25% formula in which Guyana getting 12.5%. Nobody asking that. Guyana should be talking about 50% of 100%, uncle, not 50% of 25% profit. That is what we should be asking and talking about. 50% of 100%, 50% of the whole apple. Not 50% of a quarter of the apple. No, that's not profit. Them tell us we get the biggest contract, the best contract ever. Man, uncle, I want to talk about this 75%. That's what I want to talk about. So you can see where that will take us down the road. You talk about the 25, let me tell you all about the 75%. Monday, I talked a little on cost recovery, cost oil. Now I want to elaborate a little more on those two words, cost oil or cost recovery. I will repeat myself. Those two words means everything in our oil contract. That two words will put Guyana exactly or even worse where Africa is today if we don't demand a new formula in that contract on those two words, cost recovery. What it means for Guyana and the shaft or the pole Guyana is getting from those two words. That portion of that contract has to change, uncle. And during Routledge gaff with critic, he willfully and skillfully avoid talking about that same two words, cost recovery, which attaches or tie that binds Guyana to the 75% of the apple. Man, uncle, that alone, that 75% alone eating up everything. And he didn't say a word about that. But he was happy to elaborate about the 25% of the apple in which Guyana getting a bite of. I am certain after he came off that program with critic Kevin, he went and took a drink with his colleagues, convinced that he got us hooked, got us locked. Man, he was able to sell us. He was able to sell the quarter apple gaff to Guyana, and all Guyanese buy it. That is what they were sitting down having a drink and talk about after that program with critic. Man, he prefers to play with that 25% and then turn back and laugh at all of we with his friends. That's what he did, Kevin. Play with we and go back and laugh with your friends. We got them locked. Swinging something shiny in front of we face, auntie, and everybody saying we got gold, diamond and pearls, when all we getting is a few pennies with copper and billions in US dollar in debts. You can do the maths with me, uncle. All of us went to school. You can do the maths with me. At present, let's say we are getting 1 billion a year. And Exxon got 40 billion in debt already out there. And every day they are adding to that debt. Man, when you think Guyana will ever pay off those debts? That's a simple maths question. That is the question I want Routledge and Vice President Jagdeo them to answer and to show us how we getting out of that trap we find ourselves in. Like I said, we already got 40 billion US dollar on those 4 projects in which every day 75% of the oil that comes up goes towards that payment first before any profit is shared, uncle. Yes, 75% coming out before any profit is shared. And every other project that goes on adds many more billions. Where does that put Guyana, Kevin? You got an idea? It's like we are bailing a leaking boat that is taking in more water than we throwing out. You hear me? In a nutshell, that is your oil story. And I would like to challenge Routledge, Jagdeo, Norton, and Ramjatan to come here and sit with me and prove me wrong. You know, I want to go so far to give any one of them $1 million to prove me wrong, what I said there. This arrangement, uncle, this formula Guyana has with Exxon is taking this country to a far worse place than the oil-producing countries in Africa. Far, far, far. And as we go in now, billions more keep adding every day by the oil companies them. Issuing more and more contracts without our authorization, building more and more FPSOs, costing in the billions. So we will have billions in cost piling up that we will never ever be able to pay off with the oil. And this is the best contract ever, these people telling us we have. You know, when you understand this thing, what they're doing to us, if you really understand this thing the way I understand it, you would feel like scream for this country. You would scream for the people of this country for what Bharat Jagdeo, Norton, President Ali and Ramjatan them doing to us. This arrangement is extremely frightening. This 75% cost recovery of money, we don't know. We didn't authorize. We are not checking. Is extremely dangerous in a profit-sharing business, uncle. Can you picture for a moment that your neighbor picking your coconuts and every 100 he pick every day, 75 is for the workmanship, the cutlass and the file, and the remaining 25 coconut got to share equally between the two of you. Yes, between the two of you. That is the Exxon deal. And that will go on for many years, if not the lifetime of the coconut farm. The 25, the 75 the man take for himself for pick it. And 25 of the coconut, the man a share half and half. 12 and a half for you and 12 and a half for me. That is the oil business. A man pick 100 truckload mango every day from your yard. And he taking 75 truckload for picking and transport the mangoes. 75. And the 25 truckloads got to share half and half between the two of you as profit. You get 12 and a half and I get 12 and a half. That's the Exxon deal. And that will go on for many years till the mangoes done from your mango farm or your yard. Same thing with your rice field. A man bringing combine, he cut 100 bag every day. He takes 75 bag for he combine and workmanship. And 25 bag is he's bossing half and half. 12 and a half for you and 12 and a half for me. That is the exact story going on between ExxonMobil and Guyana deal. And that will go on until the rice done cut, uncle. Am I clear, dear Bernard?
Quite clear. Quite well.
This deal, it is so stinking that only the 25 mango, the 25 coconut, and the 25 bag of rice the white man talk about as profit. He ain't say a single word about the 75 truckload they gone with, the 75 bag rice they gone with, or the 75 bag coconut they gone with. Only 25 coming out his mouth all the time. Could you play it back for me, man? Play the whole thing. Or play the end. Which one?
So today, where the profit is 25% of the total revenues, 12.5% goes to the state, and then 2% comes out of the contractor's 12.5% and goes to the state. So the state ends up with 14.5% out of the 25% profit.
Wow. Yes, the 25%. And the royalty, the 2% royalty, he said, them take it out from them 12 and give away, so we get 14. Yeah? 87.5% them gone with. Right? And we left with the 12.5. And the man said that is half and half profit. Somebody carrying away 75 bag paddy every day for you rice field. You hear me? Left in 25 out of that 25. He got to get half as profit and you get half. And that is business. That is business we doing with Exxon Mobil. You notice I keep emphasizing on the 75 bag, Bernard?
Of course, that's where
that is the 75% Exxon taking out every day on all the oil they pump up. And then the 25 were left. Yes, about half and half. Wait, man, uncle. The chunk of your thing, your product, these guys taking out in cost recovery, and you have no say on that? What do you think will happen here, man? Everything will finish. And at the end of the field, you will get nothing but debts because the destruction that comes with it. I don't know if the 12.5 bag paddy you're getting will be able to fix the problems you have. Uncle, is everything they're going to jack up? Yes, they're going to jack up the price on. When I'm done with you coconut will done, the mango gone done, the rice gone done, and you gone done too behind it, without knowing it. You notice how skillfully, Bernard, the man keep emphasizing on the half and half profit on the 25% of the apple. But not a word, not a single word on that 75% on the other 75% of the apple. This is where the country stands, Uncle and Auntie. This is the agreement the politicians are proud to be part of. That rotten deal. This man said the best deal Guyana can ever have. Snatching up 75%, eating up 75% up front, and got the nerve to tell we that the 25% that left back, we sharing half and half. And out of their half, them taking out 2% royalty to throw in we profit. Because they love we so much. They love me so much. Man, I love the tape. Could you play back that piece of tape? Man? They love me so much, Bernard.
So today, where the profit is 25% of the total revenues, 12.5% goes to the state, and then 2% comes out of the contractor's 12.5% and goes to the state. So the state ends up with 14.5% out of the 25% profit.
5%. 25%, Bernard. Exxon Routledge saying it's the best ever contract Guyana can have. Guyana Vice President Jagdeo said 2 weeks ago is a bad deal. Bernard? So we find ourselves in the middle of the gap between the best and the bad. When we gonna fix that, Bernard, you know? When will we correct this, Uncle? When will we finally hear about renegotiation? You want to hear anything about tomorrow, Bernard? No. Or you want to hear about now?
No.
Well, I want to hear about changing the formula and changing it now. Today's press conference, the Vice President talked about cost of living, high cost of living. The opposition leader had a rally on high cost of living. The Vice President talked about part-time job. And a number of things he talked about. He talked about the fishermen. He talked about throwing little grant. You know, Bernard, if only this deal we have, he can change the formula. If only he can hold back these projects and eke out some benefits out of these projects. You know, Guyana doesn't have to talk about cost of living. You know how much money can come in here? If only he can look at these costs that are being thrown on these projects, you know, we would have no issue. We would not have to be talking about part-time job. We would not even have to put cane cutters in the field. So much money can be rolling into this country. But guess what? Their hands are tied, their feet tied, and their mouth look like something gone down it. Because when you talk about renegotiation, uncle, it's like you're interfering with their parents. You're doing something terrible to their parents. They get very upset and annoyed at you. But they have no shame talking about high cost of living. Joshua?
Yes, sir.
I want to take it easy tonight. I want to end with that. God bless you guys. I'm going to take a few telephone calls.
And you're listening to us right here on Kaieteur
Yes.
Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM, the radio with the difference. Those telephone numbers 226-745-324, 622-2222, or 624-6456. Go ahead, Bernard.
Good night, Glenn. Good night, all.
Good night.
Glenn, one of the comments, one of the listeners who will watch the interview critic, this is what the guy said, and the guy is spot on. The guy said, this was so painful to watch. One could only imagine the level of journalism in Guyana. The guy said he didn't read about the oil industry, yet he's asking questions of one of the managers of one of the largest oil companies, only in Guyana. Send amateur to negotiate a contract, and now this. Could it get any worse? The guy can't put together a proper sentence. Right, that's what the guy said about critic.
Yes.
Here's my take on this.
All right.
Critic is a convenient stooge. Right? You can't bash the guy. The guy he's hung his mouth in soup league. He wants to make $1. Right? You have to blame our leaders. Why isn't the head of Exxon coming to the media, to Kaieteur News establishment? Why isn't he thinking? Whose fault is that? Right? But put that aside. Let's go to our VP today with the ExxonMobil.
Bernard, can I intervene there? That's what I'm saying. I am saying the leaders of this country is encouraging and allowing this type of thing because they themselves are running from the press. And I want the nation to understand that, man. This is what I want you people to understand. They are not holding press conferences. And when they do hold a press conference, like today, and I said it to the Vice President in his face, the things he talked about, important issues, the man just glanced over and ride on, like if it's nothing. I told him, I said to him at the press conference, I said, Vice President, each one of these things that you spoke about, that you spent a minute and talk about, deserves not 4 and 6, but 10 press conferences alone. So to glide over these things, you're not doing a service to this country. You're not really helping this.
All right, Glenn.
this-
Everybody.
We have a caller here.
Okay, go ahead. Let's take a call.
Caller, good evening and welcome.
Hello?
Good
Yes.
evening. Go ahead.
Yeah. Good night, Mr. Lall.
Good night.
So, I think we're getting, if I understand well, we're getting 25%. The profit is 25%, right? Now, you think Exxon Mobil or anybody who doing business would cut their share for build up your share? I don't think so. And the thing will piss me off more, oh, sorry to say that, right, is he can tell you, a Guyanese, right, how the thing irritate me, right, that you ain't got no right, you overstep your boundaries for telling he, right, that you, for carrying he to court. You ban and grow here, I ban and grow here. This is we place. He can tell you the thing boil me blood. You hear what I'm telling you?
Can you hold on the line?
Hold on, Glenn. Carl, I have a question.
Yeah, they.
Carl, I have a question for you. Caller, you listen to me?
Go ahead.
Can you please answer me? Which country in the world gets the lowest percentage of oil in the world apart from Guyana? Can you tell me what percentage of the lowest country in the world gets apart from Guyana?
Well, I've followed the program a lot. I think Brazil.
Thank you. All right, hold. Bernard, hold. The gentleman talked about 25% profit. And I didn't want to even go down the road with him. But I tell him to hold. Sir, I want you to know that the 25%, man, I might have to do a special program on that again. The 25% that this white man talked about that they're sharing, is a pitiful thing. They're pitying us. That is not profit, sir. It is not profit.
Percentage is always out of 100.
No, 1 second. He keep emphasizing on 25% profit, sharing between both of us, right? You asked the question, I didn't want to go down because, listen, these things can be complicated and confusing. Basically, listen to this. If these people are to take out all the investment, the inflated investment they have out there, Guyana has no profit to get for the next 25 years.
Well, I tell you, boy.
What they do there, the agreement is structured in such a way, okay, that they're only going to take out 75 bag of the paddy.
I tell you.
And then they're going to share 12 and a half and 12 and a half. If they're to take out if they're to take out the money they invest there, every day what they pump, man, in the next 20 years, they might really finish taking out the money and then profit gonna come. So basically what they do, they're sorry for us and not to make us feel bad, look bad, that are you getting something from this oil. They designed the contract that 25% must be shared on a daily basis, monthly basis, or yearly basis to the Guyanese people half and half.
Glenn,
I don't know if I'm clear with that.
Glenn, we have to explain to the Guyanese people what's going on. This 50% profit share is just a scam. It's a scam because who decide what is the profit? We don't decide what is the profit. The Guyanese people have to understand the profit is what Exxon Mobil said is the profit. Whatever they say, our government takes that as gospel.
Exactly.
But let me get back to the point.
Yeah, that's it.
Right? This idiot, this fool, this man comes and say that we don't invest anything. Right? And yet we collecting 50% of the profit. I'm going to tell this fool, all that oil belongs to Guyana. So what we don't have to invest a damn thing because the oil belongs to Guyanese. The oil belongs to us. Why should we invest with you to take out our stuff and then take half? That is madness. The stuff belongs to us. All the oil in Guyana belongs to us. We give you a license to come help us take out the oil because you got the expertise, whatever. In a fair deal, all around the world, no country in the world accepts less than 56%. And that is 56 out of 100 barrels pumping. In Guyana, they claim that we get 14.5%. No, that 40% is a claim. We do not get 14.5 barrels out of every 100 barrels. We get 14.5% of what they claim is the oil.
Well,
nobody checks. Guyana does not have anybody checking that. So around the world, we are not getting 14.5%. We have to let Glenn, you have to let the Guyanese people know that. Around the world, the lowest is 56%, and we are getting 14.
I get you, Bernard. I get you. To put it more simple, is that whatever Exxon decide to give us, okay, Exxon's sorry for us and give us the little pittance. That's not profit.
No, Glenn, it's not. You can't say the sorry. It's a mind game. They're playing with us. They're telling us they're giving us 50%. So everybody thinks, oh, the Guyanese are saying on the world we get 50%, we get 2%. Guyanese are saying we get 50% of oil, we get 2%. Ask the average Guyanese, they will say we get 52%. We are not getting 52%, we're getting 40%. The lowest country in the world gets 56 and we get 14. You have to let Guyanese know we are not getting 52%, we are getting 14%. Guyanese do not understand that, man. You have to let them know that.
The head of a New York agency, who used to be the controller of the state of New York, the man said when he looked at the contract Guyana has, we are not getting the 12.5% that they're claiming that we get. Even to that we're not.
I agree that so we are not even getting a quarter of what the country with the lowest percentage get in the world. So you should have asked the vice president that which country gets the lowest, which country gets less than Guyana. You cannot say that because no country gets less than what Guyana has.
All
the
right.
country with the lowest has 4 times Guyana has.
I want to play back this tape.
So today, where the profit is 25% of the total revenues, 12.5% goes to the state, and then 2% comes out of the contractor's 12.5% and goes to the state. So the state ends up with 40.
So the state end up with 14.5%.
Good. So the question you should ask him: which other country in the world gets 14.5% of their oil? None. The lowest is Brazil at 56%. So 14.5%, 50. We are getting less than a quarter of what the country with the lowest in the world is getting. You have to let the Guyanese people know that. They do not know that, Glenn.
All right. One second. Good evening, caller. Welcome.
Glenn.
Yes, sir.
I explained to you before that you alone can do everything, right?
Go ahead.
You alone can do everything. You alone cannot do everything you alone. What you have to do is to get to the various different villages and see if you can mobilize the people to come out and look after this Exxon robbery or whatever they're going on with. Now, you can't blame Exxon. You have to blame our leaders, whose hands is in Exxon pocket. And they're all afraid. They're all afraid to being exposed by Exxon Mobil for what they have done to us. Now, for you're doing a good job. But you have to go out there and get the people to come out and support you. You alone can't do everything. You can get a nervous breakdown. You have to go out there, send people out there and see if you can mobilize the people, especially the Indian people. You got to get them out. And that's the only way things are going to change. Exxon Mobil don't understand, don't tell you about that. You understand what I'm saying?
You should have been doing that. You telling me to do everything for you.
Much, right?
No, don't go.
Don't go away. Stay on the line.
Don't go away. What are you doing to help? What are you doing to help the situation?
Exactly. You know, I like his presentation, but you are the people who have to do that, not Glenn. Glenn is doing enough. Glenn can't do everything, and you acknowledge that Glenn can't do everything. Yeah, Bernard, people, you keep saying that tell the people. We told the people. You can't tell the people every second that.
No, Glenn. That is a point you have to keep on hand because ExxonMobil come with.
You know, today at the press conference, the vice president talked about the capping stock. He said Trinidad being in the oil and gas business for over 100 years, and they don't have a capping stock, right? But Guyana have one, which can be used within. Guyana is getting one. He requested one, right?
I heard.
You give him credit. Kaieteur News been asking all these things, right? About the danger we face and stuff like that, and he get one. But that's not the issue. I felt good when he compared what Trinidad has or doesn't have and what Guyana is getting. I only wish he could have compared what Suriname is getting from the oil deal, 62.25% of every barrel, what Brazil is getting, 56.25 barrel, as to what Guyana is getting, 14.5%.
And Venezuela gets 72%.
And as to what Guyana is getting.
Yes.
Right? This is what I wanted to ask him there and there.
But you have to ask him, you have to let it come, you have to ask him what is the total percentage the Guyana is getting. You have to ask him, you have to let him come out of his mouth and say it.
And not only that too, on to now, he, the government, nor ExxonMobil have talked about that 2%, whether it's recoverable or not. All of them gone silent. So they're giving you the 2% royalty that he so boastfully claim. Well, we are taking out 2% out of our half of share of the profit, and then give it to you on your 12 and
then we cover it later back.
Right? But he's not telling us that they are recovering it after they hand it with the left hand, with the right hand. And this is what they keep going. Every single thing in this oil industry is a trick, it's conniving, it's deceitful. Nothing is transparent or clear.
Glenn, one thing I thought you would have asked him is, this Guyanese alcohol is the worst in the world. It's the absolute worst in the world. In his thing at Wales, he said it's in the middle of the road. You should have asked him which other country, if it's not the worst in the world, which other country in the world has the worst country in the Guyana? It's very simple. If he's claiming this Guyana is in the middle of the road, then tell us which all the other countries that have that worst country in the Guyana. Well, very simple, right?
Well, there is no contract that resembles Guyana contract, my friend.
Yes.
Kaieteur News, we have said it. We have challenged both Exxon and the government to show us or to tell us, right? Just recently, Parker, what came here to shove down a pine down we throat with that garbage he spoke with a Routledge thing. He was asked, because his company deals with reviewing and overlooking oil contracts around the world. He was asked point blank, which contract is worse than Guyana? And he had no answer. He said he doesn't know offhand. Now, that tells you exactly where Guyana is.
Well, of course he cannot, because
there isn't it.
Because Rista, that his same company posted a graph showing all the countries in the world and the total take they have. And when I said Brazil has 56%, that was from Restart. They are the ones who said the government's total take is the lowest in the world is Brazil fixed. That was from Restart. So of course he cannot say any country is worse than Guyana, because Guyana is the worst oil contract in the world.
Let me remind persons of those numbers. They're 226-745-324 and 622-222-624-6456.
We must have comments too.
Yes.
What happened? You sleepy in the comments?
So I encourage persons that.
Bernard, I must tell you guys that I asked the vice president again, and he said he's going to come on the program sometime next week. So let's wait and see. I also raised the issue about these mining contracts, whether a gold or a diamond or bauxite or timber and so on. And he he looked surprised.
He said it's no secret.
That I didn't get it. And he said he maintained that it's not a secret and we should have them. So he said he's going to look back at it again.
Someone in the comment section wants to know where is the opposition, or have you taken over from the opposition?
Have I taken over from the opposition?
Yes, where is the opposition in all of this?
Oh gosh, they got to go look for the opposition. I am not an opposition. I am just a media operative trying to bring out
enlighten the Guyanese. We are trying to enlighten the Guyanese.
some of the issues that will affect Guyana.
All Guyanese. Forever.
Present and future generation. That's all I'm doing.
There's someone in the comment section, do you believe that Mr. Jagdeo will wake up one day and decide to change?
Yeah, all of them.
He can. Once the people of the country pressure, he will change. He can change and will change once the people of the country pressure.
If people come out into the streets and demand a change, trust me. But the people, I don't know, they're still sleeping. Yeah. They're still sleeping.
Politicians respond to the people. Once enough people put its demands on them, they respond.
And that is something I don't know how you deal with that, Bernard. People sleeping. Look, we have protests every day going on.
Yes.
From Monday to Friday, we were at the shore base. We went at the coffee square there. Up to today, it was nice today. Monday morning, I am going back there, and I plan to circle the office of the president. I'll be spending all day Monday walking around by myself around the office of the president to bring about a renegotiation of this oil contract, because I want my grandchildren them to have a good life, and they deserve it because it's their wealth, it's their resources.
Agreed.
So if you guys want to join me 10 o'clock Monday morning at the office of the president, we're going to assemble at the Square of the Revolution, and I will be walking around the office of the president all day. And I'll be doing it every day, Monday to Friday.
Glenn, you should also walk.
So if you guys don't see me here Monday night, know that I was tired. I am in the sun, demanding a change to this 25% profit share. These I don't want to call, you can't even call a word.
Glenn,
you call a word on them.
Glenn, you should also walk around the office of the opposition leader also, because he is a so-called leader of almost half of the population.
Well, you got to take it one step at a time.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you, but you should also walk around his office too. At least once in a while, you should let him know that he is not doing his job. He's not to represent. He's not to represent the half of his. Almost half of this country.
I have many places to go. Not only there.
Okay, well, that's what it's only fair to do that to him also, because.
And if I have to do it, alone, I'll do it alone, because at the end of the day, I want my grandchildren them fair share.
Well, at least your grandchildren. Every Guyanese, when they get, man.
I can only speak for my grandchildren. I can only fight for my grandchildren right now.
Exactly.
I have been fighting for the last 28 years with this newspaper for all Guyana.
Exactly.
And it meets at a stage where now, what I'm seeing, coming back from Africa just recently, what I'm seeing, I don't want my grandchildren to live like the Africans. No. So I will fight for my share. And if Exxon decide to call me and say, Glenn, come, they're going to give me a $200-300 million US to take care of my grandchildren, I am gone.
Glenn, it's not only that. Have you looked at the news and see how many young men are being charged for robbing, and thieving, hijacking cars and going and robbing people?
Oh my God.
Glenn, let me just finish it. Let me just finish this thought, right? Those young men rob a couple of people, and they will go to jail or whatever. Our politicians rob the whole country, and none of them go to jail.
Exactly.
Right? If those young men get their fair share of our wealth, they wouldn't need to go and rob anybody. That is a point I am trying to get across to Guyanese. If every Guyanese gets their fair share of our natural resource or wealth, we don't need to go and rob anybody. We don't need to go and steal anywhere. We don't need to go to work if you don't want to go work.
You don't need to get part-time job. You would have no problem with food. You have no issue.
But it's their
the fishermen them will be okay. Everybody will be okay.
It's their birthright as a Guyanese. Look, Kuwait has only oil alone. Kuwait does not have gold, does not have diamond, does not have manganese, magnesium, silicon, everything Kuwait does not have. All Kuwait has is oil. We have oil, and every Kuwaiti man gets 3,200 US a month. Every woman 1,600 US a month. Every Kuwaiti child gets $800 US a month. By all rights, now every single Guyanese should have at least $1,000 US a month.
Exactly.
At a minimum.
Exactly. With the amount of wealth we have out there.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So Guyanese.
Yeah.
Caller, good evening and welcome.
Hey, good night.
Good night.
Mr. Lall.
Go ahead.
Hello, right?
Go ahead, sir.
on your live.
Yeah, you know, for the other comment with what I was saying with Kuwait and all these different things, and if you give everybody all the money that they can want, you're talking about a utopia that cannot exist even in America.
It happens in Kuwait. Kuwait is not a utopia, sir. Get your facts right. When you come on this program, get your facts right, please. Deal with facts, not opinion. Let's deal with facts here.
Yes, I'm dealing with the facts. I'm just saying, it sounds unanimously ignorant to say that, oh, you give everybody a lot of money, and when you give them the money, they will never thief, they will never rob, they will never do anything. Does not that sound lewd?
Those facts are presented by the Guyanese ambassador to Kuwait, sir. Those facts, you call the former ambassador to Kuwait, and he will verify those facts. Use your phone and Google that, and you will see that's fact.
To be quite honest, I'm not trying to say that I'm not with you guys, or I am not against you guys. I'm not against the principalities of what you're saying. The idea is, I don't think giving a lot of money to everybody makes any sense.
You don't think that's so?
Bernard,
let me ask you a question.
Bernard,
Oh, yeah.
Bernard, let me deal with the call. Let me talk with the guy, please. The gentleman is saying that he doesn't think that giving the money what? What do you
He think that's a utopia, and a utopia is a country that doesn't exist. But Kuwait is not. Kuwait exists.
Well, it's
and
not.
That is facts.
No. It's not only Kuwait that gives their citizens a monthly package.
Dubai also does it.
I was there in Dubai.
So tell him.
Dubai citizens receive checks. They receive vacation packages, 2 vacations per year, right? They get weddings are being paid for, and so many things are being offered by the state.
They get free houses when they get married.
Yeah. So there are lots of oil countries do for their citizens, my friend. And all we are saying here in Guyana, with the oil we have and this limited population we have, every citizen should have already been collecting at least $200,000 a month. That's all we are saying.
Clear me now, Mr. Lall, I can understand your point of view, right? I can understand, yes, given the current populace of 750,000 people, if you calculate, if we had the taxes, we had better royalty gain and all these things, Guyanese should be living a bit more better. You know, we should be funded a bit more, or GDP should sustain what it is actually, right? We have politicians that are not going to do this for us. We as a people are not even wanting to stand up with you to do this for us. You're just an instrument going to the courts and saying, I'm a Guyanese and I want better for my country. If I am a personal Guyanese, whether or not I own a business or anything, I have to pay taxes. And this is a conglomerate which is not paying no taxes in the country. This is not fair. If the conglomerate is not going to pay taxes, then I should not pay any taxes as well.
I agree with you.
Once we gain the taxes, we will have a bit more funds in the coffers, so we can be able to grow Guyana in the way that it needs to be. but we're missing the main point. Don't matter how much money we have, if the politicians continue going on the road they have, we can give, Mr. Lall, you win your court case for the entire Guyana, but then the politicians squander the funds. Are we any way different?
Well, you raise a valid and very beautiful point there, but it's just that you'll give them a little more to thief. But once the people doesn't go hungry, then hey, I have no qualms about that. My concern, my friend, is that we have too much wealth in this land. Gold, diamond, bauxite, manganese, you name it, man. And too much, we're too wealthy to have so many people going to bed hungry when the night comes. We got too much that our children going to school with empty lunch bowls. We have too much, man. Right? We got too much. We got too much to have these children hijacking cars, snatching chains.
Killing our brothers for a couple of dollars
Right?
for tennis ball, gonna get
Mr.
killing our
Lall,
brothers and sisters.
on your panel, can I I know I am being very fruitful with my time. Can I just say one more thing?
Go ahead.
And that's it. And let me say, we tried already with the AFC at third force, right? It's not insurmountable thing for us to try again with another third force, right? But if we have a third force, you cannot have a predominant system of political gain to where the country is going. You know, if you had one major political party only having 25, and the other major party only having 30, and the other party having the remainder of seats in Parliament to make up the 65, right? What will we have? We'll have something a bit more beneficial, whereby that thing vote can go and it can make changes. All parties have said when they went in, they will make changes to the Constitution and they will try to ease the executive power, but they never did. All parties said that they are going to make better for Guyana, right? But they never done it. If we have a third force that can do this, that can actually stand by their mandate, stand by their word, don't you think, Mr. Lall?
Could we?
Fair enough. Do you think we will have somewhere different in Guyana if we had that force?
Could we come off this third force and fourth force and let us deal with the issue that is facing this country at the moment? The issue that is facing this country at the moment, my friend, is our wealth, our resources. It's being squandered. It's being siphoned off. It's being stolen every minute as we speak. Could we focus on that? That's where Glenn Lall would like to focus my energy and this radio program on.
We have to get a better
so that
deal now.
we can so that we can start feeding our children, brothers.
Right now.
Today. Rather than waste our energy behind third force and who gonna do what and who didn't do what. Let us focus on what we can do now to bring about that change.
We have to force our leaders to do what's right for the Guyanese
All right?
now.
Let us get out on the road and stand up and say, listen, change this thing now.
Be like Sri Lanka. Just do it like Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka run out the president. He run in a small boat to a big boat and sail out.
Power belongs to the people.
Right? Exactly. The power belongs to me and you. And if we can't show them that, that's the only language the leaders of this world understand. Protest.
There's not 2,000 politicians in this country. There's 749,000
Demonstration. If we get out there, 5,000-10,000 people get out there. Trust me. But you guys prefer to sit down and worry about a third force and a fifth force and what the PPP didn't do and what no. You have seen enough of what is happening right now as I speak.
Demand a better.
You heard this man is talking about 25%. Since when you know about 25% profit share? I grew up in business and never understand 25% profit share. I know profits come from 100%. Any other deal than that is pittance.
But the thing belongs to us.
Or they make up that to give you.
The thing belongs to us. They not even give us 25% of our own thing. They gave us half of 25%. That is madness. Where else in the world what does that happen? Nowhere in the world.
So let's focus on that, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night, too. All right. I saw the gentleman calling me, so I'm calling him back.
No problem.
Glenn, you know the Guyanese people are like an abused wife.
I've said that.
Right? They are so accustomed being abused and so accustomed getting a little or nothing that when you get a little pittance, you feel good.
I hear you, Bernard. I thought I would get some comments to Bernard, but when people sleep away, I heard some people were making comments when I was at the press conference. I would have liked to address some of them if they're here.
Glenn, but you know, Glenn, that is what we have to let the Guyanese people know they are worthy, they are rich people, they deserve more than they are getting, and you have to demand. If you know your worth, you will not settle for pittance. If you know what you're worth, you will demand your rightful share, your rightful worth. You know, you will fight for your children, fight for your grandchildren. This thing belongs to you, the people. Right? You can't allow this clown from where we come, some Exxon thief come and tell you, you know, you're getting a better deal, you're getting a good deal, the best deal. He is getting the best deal in the world, not us. You can't tell me what kind of deal you're getting. I have to tell you what kind of deal I'm getting.
Well, I agree with you, Bernard. With that, can we say namaste?
Yes, sir.
And have a great weekend. Thank you for listening, guys.